Want to break into comics as a cover artist? It is not easy, but here's a little hack, a little workaround, if you will, that may improve your chances. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. And when I do that stuff, typically I'm doing it because I'm making a comic book. That's the kind of stuff I like to see in my comics. Now, what does every comic need? Every comic needs a cover. And many people, many artists, that's what they aspire to be, is comic book cover artists. Because as we've mentioned before in this channel, you know, sometimes you'll look at portfolios of aspiring comic book artists, or you just look at their work. They want to be comic book artists, but then you look at their stuff and there's no sequential art in there at all, which is pretty much, you know, that's the number one thing you have to do, is be able to tell a story if you're going to do comics. So, you know, why is that? Well, part of the reason is because everyone just, mostly comic book artists, a lot of them just want to draw cool pinups. And where do pinups get printed? On the cover of comic books. Now, it is not easy to break into the comic book business, and it's even harder to do so just exclusively as a cover artist. It's a very coveted position that a lot of even people that are working in, you know, in the comic industry for the mainstream, a lot of times, you know, they'll do the interiors, but in order to make that sell, they've got to get a big name or whatever to put on the cover. So that's why, you know, names like, let's see, like maybe a Scotty Young or an Adam Hughes or Art Adams, J. Scott Campbell, Alex Ross. That's why, you know, they're the ones doing all the covers, because they've got a big demand. You know, people want their stuff, they can see it, and that can sell a comic book right off the bat. So even professional comic book creators working in the industry for mainstream comic book companies, Marvel or DC, don't always have the privilege of seeing their artwork grace the covers. Many times that distinction goes to some of the aforementioned artists, but I've got a little workaround, sort of a backdoor way to get into doing comic book cover art. Now, you don't necessarily have to be as good as like an Adam Hughes or an Art Adams to do this, but you have to be realistic. You have, if your artwork isn't as good as most of the stuff that you're seeing inside in the interiors and everything of mainstream comics, this may not be that easy. But here's the thing, because even if you're, I mean, you see all these artists all the time, really awesome artists that are trying to break in. I'm like, why aren't you working in comics? Because your stuff is so great. Because it isn't that easy to do. But here's a way that if your artwork is competent, if you are a really good artist, you just haven't made that transition to working professionally, and especially as a comic book cover artist, here's another way that you can kind of skirt those sort of channels and get to doing comic book cover art. So here's the opportunity for artists: comic shop exclusive variants. Now what this is where certain enterprising comic book stores will work with a publisher. They will commission an artist to do a cover, and this is all legitimate. It's all, you know, fully licensed. It's the actual comic book that like a Marvel or DC is publishing, but with an exclusive variant. And these are very low print run, and it's all done through the publisher. It's not super easy to get into, but it's probably a lot easier than some of the other routes. You have to be approved by, you know, whatever the company is. They don't just, the comic store doesn't just pick an artist and then say, hey, Marvel, DC, we're printing this book, and then we get it printed. No, it all has to go through the publisher. They have to approve everything. So I just don't want to give you false hopes or fool you into thinking that this is super easy. There's still gatekeepers involved, like anything doing stuff for Marvel or DC. It's just a little different. And so for instance, Eric Henson, who's an awesome artist, we've had him on the Artcaster. He is a local artist here where I live in Arizona, and he's, you know, also the author and illustrator of Eden. This was done through Alterna Comics. Brilliant comic book artist, and he's done a lot of stuff through my local comic book store in this respect. And I'll put up some of the artwork that he's done for like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and some other exclusive variant covers that he's done. But even him, I mean, his stuff is just as good as any of the comic book artists that you're gonna see working for the big two, if not better in my opinion in a lot of respects. His stuff is just brilliant, but even sometimes he doesn't get approved. So, and that's just the case with any way you're gonna try to get into comic books. You're gonna get rejected and things like that. no matter how good your stuff is, but you just got to keep trying and everything. But if your work is good and you get in with your local comic book store owner, and if they do this type of thing, not all comic book stores do this, but many of the more successful ones right now, this is a business model that's working for them. My local comic book store is doing really well for them. I mean, where you hear all these stories about these comic book companies or comic book stores that are just, you know, they're at the mercy of like Amazon and things like that, and you know, a lot of them are going out of business. But my local comic book store is actually doing pretty well, and this is one of the reasons why. They're about to expand into a larger location, and they tell me that other comic stores that they know, other retailers and everything that they're talking to, are also doing well, doing stuff like this and other things that just smart business choices. So what they will do, like I said, they will work with the comic book publisher for a new title. These are usually big tentpole titles, like #1 issues, or like introducing a new character, or just a big launch. They will do these sort of exclusive covers, and they will give comic stores the opportunity to purchase those. They get the artist, they commission the artist, and then they work together to create this printed comic book, and they're low print runs, so because it's scarce, there's a big demand for them, and they do sell at a premium. So they'll sell around like minimum maybe like $15-20, and they can go up from there. I mean, some of them, if it's rare enough and if it sells out initially on the secondary market, I mean, I've seen them go for like thousands of dollars. So as far as the collectors, I mean, the collectors really do like these variant covers, and it's good for the comic book store, and they're exclusive to just that comic book store. So, and because they're exclusive, they don't have to compete with like Amazon or any other comic book store, because no other comic book store or even Amazon has this particular cover. So they can also sell it online. You know, they're not limited just by location. So it's a really good thing. So I was really intrigued by this. So I'm like, well, you know, how can I get involved with this? So I talked with my local comic book store, Surprise Comics, and we've partnered together to create an issue #1 variant for Betty and Veronica. Summer fun. It's through Archie Comics. It's super exciting, something fun that I like. I like these characters, and yeah, I was just excited to do it. And what makes me even more excited is that I have decided to donate my full commission for creating this cover for Next for Autism. It is a great charity. They design and build all kinds of great programs and fun programs for autistic people, something that's very near and dear to my heart. So I've done that, and also, not to mention that, but $5 from every sale of this comic will go towards Next for Autism as well, up until I think the 4th of July. So if you get it before July 4th, there will be a link in the description of this video for a pre-order. You can order that. It's $15. Like I said, $5 of that goes to Next for Autism. And like I said, this is a very exclusive comic. You can only get it through Surprise Comics, low print run. You know, if you like my artwork, it's got my artwork on it. It's got Betty and Veronica in bathing suits. So what more could you ask for? So definitely check that out. You know, order the comic. Like I said, I don't get anything out of it other than my own satisfaction and everything, and just knowing that I'm contributing to a good cause, and you can do that too. So yeah, anyway, the more I looked into these exclusive comic shop variants, the more intriguing it was, the more I wanted to get involved. And it's just an awesome way, just a different avenue to get your work out there on the cover of a comic book and make some money doing it. Like I said, I donated my commission to Next for Autism, but in the future, you know, I may do one just for me, because it's a kind of a great opportunity. If your work is up to par, if it's good enough, it's something that you should be out in comic books, but you just haven't made that yet. Talk to your local comic book store, see if they do these exclusive variants. If not, do some research online. There are a number of comic book stores that do. Get in with them, talk to them, show your portfolio. Like I said, it's not a given, you know, but you do, it is an opportunity. It's another opportunity, and I think it's a lot easier to do that than just the traditional route of going in, you know, working at Marvel or DC, doing sequential art that takes a lot of time, where a lot of times most people just want to do the covers, but it's like, we've got another artist we want to get there because I think it'll sell the cover a little better. You know, that's kind of the way it is. So it is another avenue that you can take, and you know, maybe not so much paying your dues. You don't have to be, I mean, most people, you know, in the comic book industry, they don't really know who I am because I'm doing independent comics, but this is a way that I can do stuff and, you know, just satisfy that little interest in getting something done, and in this case Archie, but maybe even a Marvel or DC or whatever. It is just another way, and we need all the ways we can to figure out how to kind of navigate this industry and kind of break in and just do the things that we love and make money doing it. So anyway, let me know what you think either about this particular cover or this whole idea of doing artwork for exclusive comic store variants. If this is something you might want to look into, if maybe you have to brush up a little bit on your skills and bring it to the point where your work is ready for that. It's just patience, practice, and persistence. You just keep doing that again. Keep practicing. You will get better. But let me know in the comments section what you guys think. And also, please, it goes to a good cause. My only stake in this is just the joy of knowing that I'm raising money for something really great, and I had fun doing the cover. So check that out. Link in the description, and I will see you guys later. That is all. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at Serkworks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. Do you like making comics? Then go to Serkworks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.